Hey there, I want to welcome you to the Rise of the 1% podcast, where you're going to discover the strategies, tools, and insights to dominate and get to the top 1% of your industry. I am Gerald Bass alongside James J.C. Williams.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing, G?
Doing great. Doing awesome.
Awesome. Well, here we go again. Podcast number 3. It's a lot of things that I feel like we're going to talk about today because last week we talked about the goal setting for the 1%er.
Yep.
And today we're going to talk about having 1%er habits.
1%er habits. Very important.
I feel like, yes, it's the best way to follow up on goal setting.
Yes.
Right? Because we also know that what habits are. It's something that you can repeatedly do over and over time so it can actually become just normal.
Right.
All right. But we trying to get you outside the norm.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the things. But before we actually get into that, I want to try to relate to everyone out there. Because when we get into the habits, I want to just think like if you have thought to yourself that you not got to the place that you want to be in life.
Right.
Because we know that it's all about just getting to the highest level. Right, that's the point of this podcast.
Yes.
Is us getting to the highest level.
Yes.
So if you feel like you're not at the place, where you're at in life, I want to just ask you, G, what you think that may be holding people back to getting to that level?
Yeah, I believe it's conditioning. And a lot of times it's conditioning from even just little kids. And sometimes it may be from parents. Sometimes it may not be from parents. Sometimes it may be from family. It may be from friends. It may be from what we see in the media. But it's the conditioning in terms of the way that we think and the way that we see things in the world. A lot of times, too, it comes from us as well just wanting to stay in our comfort zones, wanting to remain comfortable with what we've been conditioned by and the way to think and see things in terms of the world. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's a mediocre type of way of looking at things and looking at situations with terms of what's going on in the world and what we can accomplish and set out for and etc. So I believe it's just conditioning, like I say, and just comfort zone, being in the comfort zone.
Right, and I agree with that because if you think about it, right, most of our parents or if we looked at people in the past or how we always get this basic concept that you got to work hard and you got to keep your head down. You got to follow the leader.
Exactly.
Like all those different concepts, which we know that it takes it takes work to accomplish.
Right.
But also too now in this day and age, you got to have a system.
Exactly.
You got to actually know things more than just working hard.
Right.
So what I want to do is go over some elements that you should have to have the type of habits for the 1%er.
Okay.
And we'll start off with number 1 that we're going to talk about is really having a structure. Like I said, like a system, just having a structure. And just think about give me a way that's how you probably structure out your day.
Yeah, so with me, first of all, I actually schedule my day a day ahead. All right. So one of my mentors from afar, rest his soul, his name is Jim Rohn. Say people used to...
One of my favorite mentors.
Exactly. Say people used to ask him, when should you start your day? He say, as soon as your day is finished. And you put it on paper. So for me, every night before I take it in, I schedule my entire day out from the time that I'm waking up to the time that I'm taking it in the next day. And I mean from spiritual to mindset in terms of mental to relationships to health to even business. Everything is structured out. So I typically like to work, let me tell you this. I typically like to take it in around the same time most nights. And I like to get up around the same time in terms of structure. And then, I like to do time blocks in terms of within this time frame. Like for instance, when I get up in the morning, I do my morning success ritual. Typically, I like to get up around 4:30 a.m. in the morning. Once I get up, I usually, I do my grooming and stuff. And then after that, I pray straight to the gym. Right. Every single morning is automatic. From the gym, come home, shower, drink a protein shake usually in the morning and stuff like that. And then typically from there, I do morning devotion, my spirituality, personal development, read some type of book, 10 pages of a book. I review my goals. And then from there, I get started in the day. And usually I start around the same time, which is around 8 a.m. Mm-hmm. And in terms of going throughout my day, what I like to do, I like to work for 50 minutes work on a specific task. I take a little slight 10-minute break. Then I go back in for 50 minutes. And then I take maybe a 30-minute break. And then I go in for another 50 minutes. So that's typically how I go throughout my day. I schedule lunch at the same time every single day. Mm-hmm. I eat dinner around the same time every single day. And I typically like to, like I say, take it in and end at the same time every single day. So that's primarily what I do in terms of structuring. Every single day, that's what I do.
That is powerful. That's powerful. And I feel like that's going to our next element, which is keeping your focus. By you doing that, that's helping the focus, like by you actually doing on time blocks.
Right.
Knowing that, all right, this is my morning ritual. And then 8 o'clock a.m., I got this task to do. And then after that, it's like I got another task. So it's keeping you focused and, keep you going. So that's powerful. And also, too, just to hit on that, like, another thing that I like to do is journal. Like, that's the one thing, like you said, like you plan your day a day ahead. Like, as soon as your day ends, you already planning ahead for your next day, what you're going to do tomorrow.
Exactly.
So journaling is very powerful as well. What I like to do is tell my life story ahead of time, like I'm already living it.
Right.
And that's the way I look at things. And also, too, it helps me, too, have gratitude and look forward. Like, if I journal the things that I'm thankful for, and I'll journal the things that, because I could be thankful for being not only just having the friends, my family, and just the day, like just maybe being a beautiful day and just waking up and being blessed, but also too the things that I may want in life. All right, so even if it's I want to take some type of exotic vacation,
right?
If I want to actually take my family somewhere they never done before. Like, this is things that I put in a story that I put in my journaling. So I think journaling is very important to actually having for your 1% of habits.
Absolutely. I think journaling is very important. And another thing I do want to mention, because some people may have just heard how I structure my day, and they're like, dang, all Gerald does is work. Well, actually, even when it comes to my family life and even hanging with friends, like I said, that's even in my schedule throughout the day. So if the next day I'm going to spend some time with my family, which is I do that, then I will schedule that a day in advance.
Right.
Like this time block for the next day, I'm going to be spending time with family, or I'm going to go out with friends, or whatever the case may be. So everything is structured. So I don't want people to think all Gerald does is work. Yes, I do work and I do go hard at what I do, but at the same time, I structure everything. But like you said, in terms of journaling, yeah, that's definitely important. You know, being able to write that story beforehand. And a lot of times too, when it comes to writing down what you're going to do the next day, a day before, whether that's journaling, etc., your subconscious mind goes to work while you're asleep. So as soon as you get up that morning, you know exactly, like you go straight into that, because while you were sleeping, it was subconsciously, going throughout your mind in terms of what you just wrote down on paper the night before. So that's very important.
Yeah, that's very important. So let me ask you this too. Okay, so now we got the journaling, which helps with the focus, right?
Right.
And my third element that I feel that you need to have for high performance or being in the 1% of habits is also too what you do for your health wise.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. So with me with health, I would say, for one, I'm doing my best to get better hours of sleep. That's what I would say. I mean, I know some years ago, I tell you like this, being completely transparent. When I was in a very dark place at one time, I was staying back home with my parents and stuff because one of my businesses had went under and stuff like that. I remember operating off 2-3 hours of sleep some nights, if any sleep.
Right.
Because I was just hustling constantly.
Yeah, we heard that saying, sleep is for suckers.
Right, exactly. We definitely was going off of that, right? We definitely, we had the wrist, we going hard with that, right? So I would say I mean, it's been some times where I didn't get as much sleep as I should have. And even when I was in the entertainment business and I was going to school, I barely got over 4 hours of sleep in the night, because I was doing both. So with that being said, I would say these days in terms of my health, I am working on getting better sleep. For me, I can operate very well off of 6 hours. I can, right? Now, some people may say they need a full 8 hours, right? And that's perfectly fine. But for me, at least 6 hours, I can be very productive the next day. And I believe it's still great for your health, right? Another thing for me is exercise.
Yeah.
So I go to that gym, consistently, working cardio, working different parts of my body. I believe that's real good for health, right? Would you agree?
Yes, because exercise, it really, like the energy boost that you get when you do that in the morning, it just puts you ahead of the game.
Exactly.
And that's why that's something I just do religiously. I love the exercise. And it just now
that's became a habit for me. Like seriously, it's became a habit. I mean, if I don't really get that workout in on certain days, it's just like my whole day is thrown to the left or what have you. So with that being said, exercise, and I would say as well the way that you eat. For me, like I said, I usually eat forms of protein early in the morning. I eat a lot of salad in terms of my greens. And I eat. I'm not gonna sit here and say like I'm a vegan or vegetarian or anything, and nothing against anyone that's doing that. I still eat meats. I still eat fish and shrimp. I still eat all that type of stuff. I would say though, it's just you doing things in moderation. Not overdoing things. That's what I should say. And I'm not saying it's against anything in terms of anybody who may be vegan, vegetarian, etc. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying for me, like you're just doing things in moderation, not overdoing certain things.
Right, and I agree with that. I'm the same way. I have been open to it, vegan, vegetarian, and one of the things that I know what works for me, like I work on a high level when I do like intermittent fasting. So I really don't eat in the morning. I really try to cut down my eating to like once a day. And I just eat huge at one time, and it may be around 2-3 o'clock in the evening. And I'm telling you, it's a mind thing, because at first I wasn't doing that. It's like you gotta have breakfast, you gotta have protein. Now everybody have their own different ways on how they do things, but I just we talking about our own personal experiences. And that's been my personal experience. Like when I eat huge like that, it seems like it lasts me for the rest of the day. I don't have the slumps, and then I'm able like. My bedtime is at 10 o'clock because I know that I'm looking to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
So I can be at that gym 5 in the morning.
It is.
Get my hour and a half in before, because most businesses, they open around by 7 o'clock.
Exactly.
7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So it's like, hey, we want to go ahead and be onto them phones or doing those activities, which that goes in to the next element where we're going to talk about is some income producing habits. But
and one thing that I wanted to also share in terms of health is your mental health is very important as well. So another thing in terms of health is tuning out as much negative as you can, whether that's watching the news a lot of times. And I'm not necessarily saying all news is bad, right? But it's some news out there that we know that is very negative. Hearing about all the killings and all that type of stuff, that's not good for the health. A lot of times you constantly feeding your mind with that. Sometimes even social media, right, can be kind of negative, okay? And it can bring your spirits down and stuff, and it's not that good for your health all the time. So I would say even from a mental space, you have to watch your health too, because that also can come on to your health. And less worry, right? Less worry and more faith. Okay? Because a lot of worry and stress and anxiety creates disease as well.
Ooh.
Okay? So
powerful.
Absolutely. So I wanted to speak on that before we move on to the next element.
Definitely. And I was just gonna ask you, G, do you even watch the news?
Not really at all. Unless I'm over at my parents. I'm gonna be honest. My parents, they watch the news, right? That's them. So if I'm over there, sometimes I'm kind of just in that environment. And hey, that's my parents. I'm not knocking. That's what they do. But when I'm by myself or I'm, I usually don't watch the news at all. Really, right. I don't watch hardly any media. Now I do check on current events and things that's going on. You have to stay afloat of that type of stuff. Right, exactly. Exactly. But all the murders and killings and all that, I don't want to hear about that every day.
Right. I don't want to watch none of that. I don't know anything. And I don't want to be like on Unconscious because I know you are more heavily on social media than I am. Yeah. And like I don't be on social media a lot. I don't get into nothing that it'd be so funny too, man, because like it don't matter that we don't watch it, we still gonna hear about it. Right. You know, I was just at a job location not too long ago. Well, you know, of course, you know, it's not it's a job, it's my company or whatnot, but it was at a warehouse and you know, I'm talking to the workers in there. And one of the workers was telling me about these diseases and a guy having sex with a chicken. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wow. You know, like, so wow. You know, certain things that really, like, amuse people and they entertain to, it just don't, it's something that don't capture me. I don't care nothing about. Exactly, right. So, you know, I don't really so I know I hear about, okay, yeah, it's all different type of diseases and stuff going on, but exactly, this is like crazy, like, wow, and this is not in my universe, so I cannot. All right, like, that's not in our world. Right. So I don't understand. What is this, you know, but that's what people like and everything. Whatever, you know, everybody got their own thing, so, yeah, but that's just me. I don't never watch the news. But we always gonna hear it anyway. Exactly. You gonna hear about it anyway. You gonna hear about it anyway. You tune in or not. Exactly. That's how I look at it. So yeah. So you know, but let's go on to the next element. We want to keep it flowing and everything. So we wanted to talk about the income producing habits. Right. All right. So let me ask you, what's some of your income producing habits? Yeah. So for me, in terms of income producing habits, is for one, clients come first for our business. You know, so servicing our clients, of course, you know, we specialize in lead generation, customer client acquisition. So for us, you know, if I'm building out a lead gen system, which is a sales funnel, or, you know, set up ad campaigns, running ad campaigns, managing ad campaigns for our clients, that's considered income producing activity because the more money we make our clients, the more money we make. So that's an income producing activity. A lot of times for me as well, of course, prospecting or running ads for our own business or doing sales calls. Right. That's considered to me income producing activity. Exactly. A lot of times too, content creation as well is considered income producing activity, even though it's more long term, because you have to be consistent with consistently putting out content to really gain attraction for whatever you're doing. But that's even considered income producing activity. What I would say is not income producing activities, okay, is fixing up my office for the next hour, right? Working around and organizing my office. That is not income producing activity. Talking to friends throughout the day and gossiping, that is not income producing activity. You know, looking in the news feed throughout the day, looking at what everybody else got going on in their life, things of that nature, that is not income producing activities. Right. That's the difference, I would say, in my opinion. All right, let me just hit on that now. You know, you want to be organized because that's going to... Right, organized is definitely key, but key. To me, it's not necessarily all the way an income-producing activity, even though I can agree I don't like to work in clutter. I do understand that. I know. Okay, but some people use that as a procrastination mechanism in terms of taking action. I'm going to sit around for the next few days and work on my office, okay? Or I'm going to sit around for the next week and work on a logo, right? That is not necessarily an income-producing activity, even though your logo is very important, right? I'm not saying websites are not important and things of that nature, but to me, taking a whole week and all that type of stuff for that's not really income producing activity to me. And not only that, you can outsource that type of stuff. Right. And see, and this is my theory on it. All right. What I like to do is just do it when you off. All right. Like yeah. So it's like if you take your rest day on Sundays, that's when you should get yourself organized, do all your errands and all that type of stuff. You know, gotta be straight focused when it's time. And I'm going to share this, and some may agree with me, some may not agree with me. I'm just going to share with you what I've learned from many of my mentors who are multimillionaires. I mean, as you get to $10,000 a month or more, to me, cooking is not an income-producing activity, right? A lot of people that get to six figures, they start to hire chefs. Right. Same thing when it comes to washing clothes, ironing clothes, you send stuff to the cleaners, stuff of that nature. You outsource a lot of things because those are not income producing activities. I would say once you have the revenue to do that. Now I can understand in the beginning stage you may not have the income to hire a chef or
you know, you may not have that type of income, but as you grow your income up, you start to delegate more of those tasks to focus more on things that's making money. One thing one of my mentors told me back in 2014, he said that if you are cutting your own grass, you're robbing an 18-year-old of a summer job.
Right.
He said that if you consider your worth over $10 to $15 an hour, why are you doing $10 to $15 an hour work? You see what I'm saying? And so with that being said, that's how I look at income producing activities.
Awesome. And just to hit on another thing that you said, another thing that you were saying, even like your communication with your friends and even family, you know, just going to when it's time, when you had them time blocks or when you're working and stuff like that.
Right.
That's another element that I want to get into, because you have to have that mindset as in putting yourself first.
Exactly.
All right. So I understand that, you know, that people may think it's like what, selfish and conceited while you're saying that. But you have to do these things so you can provide for everything else.
Right. You can't be overreactive to everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And you know, even like, I don't know if you even notice, like, even when you talk to me, and it's just like with a lot of people, like, even when I talk to you, I keep conversations rare. I don't do long conversations with like hardly nobody, you know. So,
not all the small talk.
Yeah. You know, like, hey, we get straight to the point, but we need to talk about, all right, I'll talk to you later. So that's just how I roll too. So that's another thing. Just that's another element that we were talking about, is making sure that you put yourself first.
Exactly.
All right. And another element that I want to move on to is, you know, a lot of people that has these high performing habits, they love challenges.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's something that I feel like that you, when you conquer certain challenges, I feel like this is very educational. One thing I was listening to Robert Kiyosaki. I love listening to Robert Kiyosaki because, you know,
phenomenal guy.
You know,
exactly.
So he gives a lot of phenomenal advice.
Right.
And one of the things he was just talking about, when you get into financial troubles, all right, not to run away from the financial troubles, to actually try to figure it out. And that would educate you to actually know how to handle certain situations. So you look forward to whatever those challenges are and you figure it out. Don't run from it at all. So that's something that I feel like is very key for people that's part of the 1%. You want to have 1% habits.
I agree.
All right. Another element that I want to talk about is see and serve beyond your strengths. All right. High performers and 1%ers are uniquely productive. All right.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And they just don't develop a skill for themselves like see and serve. They develop leaders.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that's one of the things when you comes down to building businesses.
Right.
And like you said, when you outsourcing, like it's a lot of things that even me and you had these discussions that we want to do in-house, right? And so us doing these in-house things, and we want to build a team and a big company, we have to be great at developing leaders.
Right.
So that's another element that I feel like is very important on the habits that you need to have on knowing how to develop leaders.
Yep.
And one of the things I think about, like when it comes down to leadership, it's good to take assessments sometimes to actually see when some areas that you need to improve on.
Right, exactly.
And
improvement is always key.
Right, exactly. And I feel like that's another element that I want to get into is actually being open to communication, as in to be able to take critique, you know, be able to take advice.
Right.
I think that's another habit.
Yeah, constructive criticism.
Yes.
Being able to take it.
Right, right. So what you think about just having assessments and you know how you feel like they work?
I mean, I think it's good in terms of, and when you say assessments, you talking about in terms of developing leaders, like giving people that are potential leaders assessments.
Really, both. All right, so even
or people that are already leaders.
No, even to help develop leaders, and also too just within yourself, like just looking at where you feel like you need to grow in. So.
Oh yeah, definitely, that's key. It's one of those tests out there called Myers-Briggs. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's a personality type of test, and I've taken it a couple of times. It tells you if you're introverted, you're extroverted, you know, all that type of stuff. Yeah, and I believe it's definitely good in being able to discover more about self. I think those are definitely huge. so that we can know, like you say, what we need to improve at, different areas we may need to improve at in our life, and then even others in terms of, like you said, if we're looking to develop leaders, if we're looking to build a team, giving them assessment too to find out more about them, their personality traits and their strengths, weaknesses as well.
Right, because, I feel like the hardest person to lead is yourself.
Right.
And one of the things that I do, and if people that know me, they be around me, I'm like my own mentor too as well, because I talk to myself a lot. All right, like in the morning, I talk to myself. I try to contemplate on my next moves all the time. So it's like, I'm always in that type of mindset, as in I'm mentoring myself.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Right. So, it's just something about that, So it's always, when I'm doing that, is I'm always looking for ways to improve.
Right.
Every day is like you got to make the improvements and you're looking to be better.
Exactly.
So that's the hardest work that I feel like is like, so having those assessments to do, to know what areas that you need to improve in and be able to improve yourself. That's how you be able to improve everyone else around. All right. So the last element that I'm going to talk about is demonstrating courage. All right. Taking bold action, standing up for yourself and others. Also, in the face of fear and uncertainty and changing conditions, be able to have that courage. Don't worry about what other people think, and be able to have that persistence. Right. All right, so this is going to lead into, I feel like, is a great example of courage. And this is leading to our next session of the podcast, which is the 1%er of the week. Yes. And this 1% of the week that I'm talking about, he has been known to be one of the toughest guys in the world. Yep. He has been known to do some of the unthinkable. Yeah. Okay. When I first got into studying him and reading his book,
You Can't Hurt Me.
You Can't Hurt Me, and this has really had a huge impact on my life because he gives you that mindset to go beyond limits that you think that you have within yourself. Right. How to separate your mind from the physical.
Exactly.
So our 1% of the week that we want to give to you guys is David Goggins.
David Goggins.
And we're going to play a little segment for you guys.
It's another early morning. Every morning, every day of our lives, we have choices to make. You get a choice to stay in bed, to say, forget it, I'm not going to work out today, or forget it, I'm not going to work hard today. You always have a choice every single day of your life. So, done today. No one cares what you did yesterday. You got to change your dialogue. The I used to be mentality doesn't work. What have you done today to better yourself? Today's another day. Today's another day that I'm faced with another choice to make. So I'm making the choice again to put my shoes on early in the morning and get active again. Make the right decision. Well, some of you read that I think about when it's hot outside, that it's sunny and 70. Well, it's fucking not today. It's the reality. It's about 90 degrees and 100% humidity. But who gives a shit? That being said, September 3rd, I had to have my book turned in. And when I realized, I'm reading this book a lot, but I realized I wasn't born this motherfucker. I made him. At the bottom of insecurities, fear, self-doubt, lies, was me buried in the fucking fetal position. How I got out of that was recognizing it, being honest with it, being truthful with it, and then fixing it. We like to live on social media with lies about ourselves, how great we are. Get to the source and fix the problem. I'm a big believer in doing something that sucks every single day of your life. I believe it's a key component into strengthening your mind. Every day you're trying to find more of what you're capable of. And that's the big question. What are you capable of? Stop doing the things that you do every day. You run every day, Go swim. Flipping a towel, 1 tire for a mile. It'll definitely build something. So I'm all about cows in the mind. Do something that sucks.
All right, so hope you have got some great value out of that. Like I said, this guy here has, he has had a huge impact on me and how I look at things, even when I'm working out.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at Joe Rogan podcast one time, and I know one of the guys he was interviewing on there, he said that he spent like a whole month with David Goggins. And I remember the first time we went to the gym, and he had him to do pull-ups. And he just did like 10 pull-ups. But now David Goggins was like, nah, do 100, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't gonna stop, you know?
Right. That's that Goggins mentality. 1% mentality. Absolutely.
So, excuse my language out there. But that's how he really talk. He's very hardcore.
Right.
And every time I go to the gym now, that's how I have that mindset. It's like you gotta leave it all out. And then when it gets hard, you separate the mind from the physical because your mind is more powerful. So this is, these are things that you have heard before, but when you read certain stories, those stories inspire you.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just like even with me diving into a lot of interviews I've heard from David Goggins to listening to his audio, You Can't Hurt Me. I'm used to running, like I said, a couple of miles. I think I was sharing with y'all earlier, like a couple of miles in the morning. But after listening to Goggins, I started to push like 4 miles, 5 miles. Right. In the morning, going over and beyond, because we can do a whole lot more a lot of times.
Yes.
Than we set out for. It's all a mental thing.
It's all a mental.
Yeah.
Hopefully you got some value out of this out there. So if you just out there, you saying, why can't you just be happy for what you have? Those who say that, just understand that they don't have the mindset of the 1%.
Right.
Because you could be wildly happy for what you have and still strive and grow and contribute. So don't let anyone ever discourage you or from your ambition to do better in life. Don't minimize yourself or your dreams for any reason. Also, it's okay to want more. Don't fear for new ambitions. Just understand how to reach them with more focus, elegance, and satisfaction to do bigger than next time. All right?
So it is.
We're going to go ahead and end this podcast. G, you got anything that you probably want to add?
Yeah, I would say definitely pick your biggest takeaway or your few biggest takeaways from this podcast and go out and implement. Implementation is key. Right? Applied knowledge is power. Remember that. Okay, so you heard a lot about the successful habits of the top 1%ers. Go out and apply what you heard in this podcast so that you can get closer and closer to becoming part of that 1% yourself. And also, I have a free training. We have a free training over at theriseofthe1%.com on how to dominate and get into the top 1% of your industry. Make sure you visit the website, www.theriseofthe1%.com. Okay, it's a training over there, free training on how to dominate and become part of the top 1% of your industry. Also, if you got value out of this podcast, give us a 5-star rating. 5 stars. Nothing less. And subscribe so you'll be notified every time we drop one of these episodes so we can continue to impact and serve you at the highest degree. And feel free to share this around with anyone else you feel can benefit. Feel free to drop any comments as well of your biggest takeaways. Besides that, this is James J.C. Williams and Gerald Bass. We definitely look forward to seeing you in the 1%. Have a great day on purpose.